In 1 Samuel 17, we see an entire army of men intimidated and scared of one big giant man with a big giant sword and a big giant spear. And then there's one young man named David who isn't intimidated by the size of the giant or the size of the weapons. He sees something different. And one of the lessons we have to learn if we're going to learn how to defeat the giants in our life is how to see correctly. See, all those men there who for 40 days refused to fight, were too afraid to fight, were too terrified to fight, they all saw something different than what David saw. They all saw the size of the giant. He's an enormous man. His sword is as tall as most of us. His spear is so long there's no way to avoid it. All they could see was all the negative, all the ways they could lose, all the ways they might die. David came along and he heard the taunts and he heard the mocks and he saw something different. David saw victory. In fact, he told the king, "Don't worry about this guy. I'm going to kill him." And then he stood in front of the giant and he said to the giant, "When this day is over, I'm going to cut off your head, and all of your friends over there on the side, they're going to be terrified of us. And everyone here is going to know that the true God is the God of Israel." See, David had a skill that you and I can learn. It's not something he was born with. It was a skill that he developed, and it's a skill you can develop. David could see victory. David could see the story that he wanted to tell. David could see beyond the size of the giant and the size of the spear and how deadly all those things were. He could see beyond the obstacle, and he could see what life would look like if he won. And that's a skill. David recognized that yes, there's an obstacle. Yes, he's a giant. Yes, he has big stuff. But if I win, here's what my life could look like. I could cut off his head, the whole army could win, and everyone here would know that God is the true God. See, visualizing a win sounds like New Age mumbo jumbo. Sounds like a Tom Brady thing or a Mike Tyson thing, if you know who he is. That you would visualize a win. And it's not so much a New Age mumbo jumbo at all. It is very much a skill and art in defeating giants, in defeating the challenges and struggles in your life today. And one of the things you can do is, instead of focusing on all the negative, all the ways things could go bad, all the ways things might not work out, instead ask yourself this question: what might it look like if I did win, if I did overcome, if I did quit, if I did lose the weight, if I did make the phone call, if I did forgive, what would it look like? We ask this question all the time when people come to us in the middle of a crisis. They don't know what to do. They don't know what attitude to take. They don't know what decision to make. We always ask the same question, and the question is this: what story do you want to tell? Because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever it is you're facing today, it's just going to be a story that you tell. You're going to tell the story to your friends, to your children, to your grandchildren. And when you're sitting around the house at the kitchen table and your grandkids asked, "Hey, Grandpa, tell us again the story about how you faced that giant back in 2022. What's the story you want to tell? Do you want to tell a story of bravery and confidence and willingness to fight, or do you want to tell a story of fear, of refusing to fight, of not even wanting to try because it might fail? What's the story you want to tell?" The way you visualize defeating the giants in your life today, whatever they are, is you look past the threat and you see the future. You see what might happen, what could be if you defeated that giant. What story do you want to tell 5 years from now, 10 years from now, about whatever it is that you're struggling with today? An addiction, a hurt, a hang up, a habit, a wound, a broken relationship, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. 10 years from now, what story do you want to tell about this situation, this giant in your life? I think, like David, you want to tell a story of victory. And if you want to tell a story of victory, then you have to take the steps to get the victory. So what story do you want to tell? Let's tell good stories, brave stories, confident stories, and most importantly, victorious stories. Tomorrow we'll talk about how to take those steps towards victory.